Hello again, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. I'm Gary Gatso. Welcome to P1's broadcasting coverage of Round 5. We reached a halfway point. Can you believe it? A Season 8 of the longest continuous running DW12 series on iRacing today. It's a Dark Horse Racing Series presented by The Joy of Driving, coming to you tonight from, almost said Legacy Kentucky Speedway, but we are at the real thing. We're not at the old one. We're at the new one. Newish, I guess, but the newish Kentucky Speedway for the Joy of Driving 225. Qualifications currently underway. We got about 19 seconds left to play here in qualifying. Here are your weather conditions. Joining me as always in the booth is Andrew Wood, the Catalyst. Andrew, I guess the story for this year so far is we've reached the midway point. We have not had a repeat winner, and none of the winners that we have are currently the current points leader.
Hey Gary, good to be with you again here at Kentucky, and that's such a great stat that you pointed out there, because typically in these leagues you see one guy kind of having their season where a lot of good races fall their way, good fortunes come, and next thing you know they're leading by a few races, but that's not really the case here in the Dark Horse Series. We have a points leader that has not won a race yet, but the consistency really is the key, and I'm sure you could talk about how that's happened in the IndyCar Series in the past with certain drivers, and it's happening here.
Yeah, twice before in IndyCar history, there has been a national champion for never winning a single race. The most recent, 1978, Tom Sneva won the national championship on the power of basically, as you mentioned, consistency. Also back in 1958. The winner of that year was Tony Bettenhausen Sr. That's the father of Gary and, of course, Tony Bettenhausen Jr., former kart team owner in the 80s and 90s. He won the national championship without a win either. That is two examples in IndyCar history where that has happened. Well, let's get into tonight's starting lineup as we are now starting to grid up on pit road. Let's get on in here and get in tonight's starting lineup for the Joy of Driving 225. On the pole and on a bit of a roll in his own league is Eric Peterson. A speed of 2:11.493 right next to him. Making his first start in a name we all well know. You know this name very well. Chris Stouffer. He is also one of the points challengers over in the ISRA that you'll see Monday nights here on P1. He lines up on the outside. Right behind him is Stouffer's teammate, Craig Forsythe, and Shane Coker. This is Shane Coker's favorite track. Of course, you know his league. The Vote of Indy Oval Series has their crown jewel event here. Gary Lovern, who has been showing up recently for these Sunday night races and doing pretty well. He is lining up in row 3 right next to Eric Anderson with his best start in this series, lining up 6th there. Then Murph, who is our points leader, and LGN on row 4. Back in row 5, we got Teed and Heisong. Then back on row 6, we got Giermy and Johnson, Pahutsky and Brubacher. JB back on row 7. Dinsdale and Clindy back in row 8. Wilson and Wagner row 9. Mitchum and the Prodigy, Indy Kirkenbauer, back in row 10. And Jomo, Joseph Morales, lines up in the final spot. 21-car field, 11 rows, getting ready to take the green flag.
It's very interesting to note as well, Gary, like you mentioned, Eric Peterson got his first win in the series at the last race there, and it was very, very great to see, and it's good to see that he's backed it up with another front row start here. But we do have one previous winner of the season that's not here tonight, so the chances of a new winner tonight going 5 for 5 is actually pretty high right now. So we'll see if some of these breakthrough guys that have tried their best to get up front the season can pull it off tonight.
Defending series champion Eric Schaus not in the lineup tonight. Edson Santos not in the lineup tonight. Getting ready to go green here at Kentucky for 150 laps. Very slow, bringing them down. And there's the drop of the green flag, and we're already kind of bunching up a little bit in the back as Haisong on the outside already picking up at least 3 positions.
A little bit of a disjointed start there, but everyone got rolling pretty nicely. You see that we're still too wide through most of the top 12 or so. So I think that's going to continue on here, especially at this high banked oval here at Kentucky Speedway.
They make it through the flatter portion of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. Now down to the 24-degree of banking in turns 1 and 2.
Seems Eric Anderson was the big loser on that start there, losing 4 positions. But like you mentioned, Jeff Haisong definitely managed to get that little jump there. I think there might have just been a little bit of a bobble on that outside line, which allowed Jeff and Vitor to get that advantage. But it's still early, and as you see, the cars are still very closely packed, so it's about finding that clean air and making sure you can find some sort of advantage on the car ahead of you.
Teed goes purple on that lap, as he goes 2:08.8 as they are still coming up to speed, sending it 3 wide into turn 3. Down low is Craig Forsyth. Up high is Peterson. He holds on and will come off of 3 and 4 as your leader for one more lap.
Very, very close throughout the field. From first down to 20th, it's only 3 seconds. So these cars are racing side by side 200-plus miles per hour, and they got to make sure that they find each other's left, right sides. And I don't see it calming down really anytime soon, especially as these tires are fresh. They're warming up now from that cold state from the start of the race, and I think this is going to continue going on for several laps here.
Here is your weather update after taking the green flag. 77 degrees on the track, temperature 74 on the ambience. And that tells me that all adds up to a pack race here, with it being at night here at Kentucky Speedway.
We have 2x2, a little bit of a 3-wide situation going on for P5, but that seems to sort itself out. Very, very close still, and like you said, these cool conditions here at night is very conducive for a pack race, especially with all the aero bits that are sitting on these cars here. Very, very easy to follow, very, very easy to close back up on the car ahead of you.
And Casey Pahutsky benefiting from that. He gets the full draft benefit down the backstretch in the last lap. He gets the purple lap of that time around.
Very interesting to see all lanes on this track being used, and all lanes are usable, meaning that you can go on that high side, rip the wall, and you might actually pick up a couple positions, especially if the guys on the inside line are bogged down a little bit. And if this were me, Gary, I would want to get out of this. I would not want to be in the middle of this hornet's nest. It's fun to race side by side, and it's fun to try and gain a position, lose a position, see how I can use my car best to get a few positions that may be a little bit haltered by the bottom line or so. But yeah, this is just too dangerous, and I feel like these guys are not wanting to give an inch here. And if a caution comes out, I want to be the one to say, okay, I'll drive by all those cars, get those positions later on. It gets very close there for 5th place there between, I think it was Peterson.
So where would you want to put your car in terms of if you're in this lead pack? Of course, you don't want to give up the track position necessarily. Where would you want to put your car? Just on the bottom all the time?
I think I would want to be on the bottom, and I'd want to be about a second and a half or so back from the pack, just so I can kind of watch how the behavior of the cars are ahead of me and see the best way to react. And sometimes that's good enough to get you through it, and other times not so much. But you have a much better chance of getting through it if you sit in the passenger seat, if you will, and just kind of watch it all happen ahead of you and be able to drive through it, rather than being stuck in the middle and then just getting hit by an unsuspecting car that's spinning.
Riding with Chris Stouffer right now, and the Robbie Gordon cam over his left rear tire. And he is in the draft for sure, and you can hear him breathing the throttle as LGN goes around him on the high side. Move LGN now up to 4th, up 4 spots. Charlie Teed up 6 spots.
Teed is definitely your biggest mover so far, and he's been high, he's been low, he's been every which direction. It's all about trying to find that clean air, and sometimes you're good at it, and sometimes you get lucky, but other times it's very, very difficult to predict where that car, even 2 rows ahead of you, is placing themselves. So sometimes the ebbs and flows come that easy, where it's just finding the best spot where your car works the best. And sometimes that even is just line dependent. as ice. Looks like actually, I believe that's Matt Wagner lost 2 spots there.
Forsythe teed Murphy 3 wide coming off of 3 and 4. No room was given on any of those positions right there. But David, we got a clock car spinning, and that is Eric Anderson going into 1, and I don't think anyone else was collected.
I think that I was watching Matt Wagner because he lost 3 spots there at a turn 2 on the previous lap, and I was trying to see if maybe he had some sort of issue with the car or something like that. But as they came through turn 4, I think he got squeezed a little bit and had a little bit of an advantage, and I think Eric might have come up a little bit, and there was a little bit of contact there.
Ooh, yeah. And when he went back up the racetrack, was just missed by 3-4 cars that were hanging out in the back. And he'll at least be able to maybe tow or drive that back to pit road and get the fast repair. There is a fast repair involved in the Dark Horse Racing Series here. But we are under caution at lap 14.
You were just mentioning that top 3 there was really going at it, and that's just kind of going back to what I was trying to say at the start of the race, that these guys you can't just lay back and expect to be brought up forward in the pack with these guys. You must fight it out every lap, and every lap is a different adventure. Where you thought you might be able to go high one lap, next lap you have to go low, or you have to find yourself sandwiched in the middle. If you lift even for a quick second, you get swallowed up, which is exactly what we saw happen with Matt Wagner on the lap before that incident.
And, well, we got some gamblers out there starting early. A little bluegrass gamble for LGN and the prodigy, Indy Kirkenbauer. They are going to go for the track position. Same thing with Joseph Morales. They will stay out, go to the top 3 in the order. Everyone else came to pit road, led by Eric Peterson, although it looks like Forsythe is going to beat him off. And he does. Forsythe is the leader coming off of pit road. Then we will have Mark Murphy, Charlie Teed. Peterson lost quite a few positions on pit road there. Jeff Heisong coming out in 10th. That is your top 3 staying out here. Only 14 laps on this opening stint. Give you a real quick update on the rule set we're using for today. We're at 82% fuel. I'm guessing the 82% is going to make this at least a 2-stopper, maybe a 3-stopper. We are doing 150 laps, 225 miles tonight on a 1.5-mile oval. Just a little south of Cincinnati. 1 fast repair, unlimited tires, fixed setup provided by the league. Pit road speed limit is 45 miles per hour. The track record when IndyCar did run here. IndyCar ran here, last race for IndyCar was in 2011 here. That race was won by Ed Carpenter. His first ever IndyCar win was here. He edged out Dario Franchitti. Very tight battle there in 2011. But the track record was not held on this configuration. It was on the Legacy, or the more flatter configuration. Sarah Fisher holds that track record with a speed of 221.3. The career wins leader at Kentucky for IndyCar, a pair of 500 winners. Buddy Lazier, Sam Hornish, each have 2 wins here. The DW12s never raced here at Kentucky. When they switched to the DW12 in the following season, they did not return to Kentucky and have not been back since. A lot of people would like to see them revisit Kentucky. Getting ready to go green. LGN, Kirkenbauer. It looks like Jomo did come to pit road for his pit stop. Eric Anderson showing with the black flag at the moment. We're going to go green. With LGN and Kirkenbauer opting for the track position.
It's very early in the race to make a big call for a pit stop, so I'm not surprised that these guys want to try and see exactly what the tires are acting like in situations where they've been out there for about what is it, 15 laps or so on the green flag.
Mm-hmm.
And it could work out for them. But we'll have to see exactly. It'll give us a good indication of how the tires are behaving in this situation. Very much single file compared to what we experienced at the start of the race, but that'll quickly change once all the cars begin to come together again. We see a little bit of a two-wide action going on with Stouffer. I believe that's one of the Penske-looking cars. I guess Charles Teed up ahead of him.
Yeah, Teed with the black rims, Peterson with the Dayglow rims.
It's interesting that LGN and Kirkenbauer have pulled away a little bit, but that's probably the fuel load taking into account there. So they're kind of falling out of that draft range a little bit, actually. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to catch back up so easily without any sort of swap draft situation.
Kirkenbauer goes purple, and he wants the lead here. But, man, I'm kind of going back to what you said earlier. They broke away. I would think these two would want to work together and try to pull away from this pack, knowing they have to stop here in about 20, 25 laps from now.
Well, they've kind of accomplished that by pulling about a second and a half or so ahead of these cars that just come out of the pit lane. So once these tires start to warm up for these guys that just pitted, I think they're going to start to close that gap a little bit. But the two-wide situation that's currently going on with Murphy and Teed, that's not helping.
And we ride with the Prodigy as he opts for the high line around turns 1 and 2. Gets back in line behind LGN, who has 4 wins here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. He'll stay high in turns 3 and 4. He's going to have to really roll out of the power there as he starts scooting up the racetrack a little bit. Big push. No tools available to these drivers in these cars in a fixed setup race. Big run down the front straight into turns 1 and 2. He's right back on the attenuator of LGN once again.
These guys that just come out of the pit lane have kind of gotten into a single file situation. I think they're starting the swap draft mechanism right now. Murphy was leading coming in through turn 3 there, but T tried to go for the run on the inside, didn't quite make it. So they continue to trudge on here. It looks like they're just losing time to those 2 cars up ahead of them.
That's exactly what those top 2 want. Coker goes purple that time by 2:12.6. He's in that group of drivers that we're watching right now, led by Murphy, our points leader. Let's bring up the points really quick. We have talked about the points. Murphy is your leader by a considerable margin over Schaus, who's not in the lineup tonight. John Martin's not in the lineup tonight. Peterson is in 4th in points. He looks to probably go up to 2nd with a good finish here. Still early. Wagner 5th, Pahutsky 6th, Wilson in 7th, Forsyth in 8th, Turner Johnson tied with Forsyth, Charlie Teed in 9th, and Eric Anderson in 10th. Actually, it says 11 there, but there is a tie for 8th spot.
It looks like similar to what we were talking about pre-race, Gary, about how the winners have not been the championship leaders. It does seem like someone like Eric Peterson may be focused more on just making sure he gets a good finish tonight rather than just going for it all out. He got that win a race ago, and it looks like he has started to move his way up in the championship, but it may be a situation where he just says, okay, I know I'll get into 2nd place with a good finish. Really just try and work on the racecraft a little bit and see where that takes you. And then when it comes later on in the season, there may be an opportunity for him to pounce.
Meanwhile, back up front, and they've lost a little bit of time to that 2nd pack. 2nd pack has dug into them a little bit. It's 1.4 back to the 2nd pack between these two. It is LGN, my broadcast partner, on some Sunday nights when we're not racing Dark Horse, and on Tuesdays when we're doing the Indy Oval Series, and Kirkenbauer, the Prodigy. He is currently in 2nd. Ooh, almost let him up to the wall there, did LGN.
You did bring up a good point that 2nd pack is starting to work together a little bit. Despite Charles Teed not being able to make that pass on Murphy, they are closing very, very, very slowly on that front pack up ahead. So at this point, they've made their bet up front, so it's best to just try and work together as best you can and see if you can pull away a little bit more, but it doesn't seem to be working as that pack is starting to close on them a little bit.
If you enjoy our coverage of the Dark Horse Racing Series presented by The Joy of Driving and you respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. Tonight's Kentucky 225 and the Dark Horse Racing Series is brought to you by The Joy of Driving. You can follow Mark Cohn's Sim Racing Adventures, full of sharp wit and sharp driving. Subscribe on YouTube or follow on Facebook. All the links you need are in the description. Also, tonight's race has been brought to you by 4D Racewear and Sim Markets. You can check out 4D Racewear's line of sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in the description. Also, Simrat Market is your go-to source for iRacing paint templates and broadcast resources. Simrat Market has everything you need to build your brand on track. Visit simratmarket.com, download, customize, race. Lap 31 of 150. Nunez Kirkenbauer well out front, but this second group is starting to get into that lead of theirs. They got it down to a second now.
I've been watching Carlos Teed really try and make that move work through turn 3 and 4 there, but he can't quite get that line right. And it's a little bit interesting to me because with these conditions, you would think that the inside line would just be the way to go. No matter what happens, you got to try and make the advantage there, especially with the flat-footed nature of turn 1 and 2. So it's very interesting that Teed cannot get that pass completed through 3. He's a little bit ahead in the middle of 3, but when they get to 4, that's when Murphy's middle line there starts to really take advantage again. So that just gives you an indication of what a last lap situation might be. If you really want to hold that guy, you got to run that middle line there. So very interesting track configuration situation we got going on here.
Yeah, I think of this as an opposite version of Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway has the flatter, wider turns 1 and 2. Kind of a little bit different, opposite here. 1 and 2, 24-degree banking. The bottom line is the preferred line through 1 and 2 here. 3 and 4 is kind of what 1 and 2 is at Texas. Kind of. Not identical, kind of. So take Texas, flip it on its lid, and that's kind of what you get here at Kentucky with the new scan.
What LGN and Kirkenbauer want right now is a caution because they both know that they've gotten the track position they need as these guys really start to close up on them now. If a caution were to come out right now, everybody pits and they're going to be the benefactors of taking advantage of positions of guys that had pit already and are probably going to pit again for a new set of tires because as you can see, it looks like their tire life is not as advantageous on the long run as probably they would have hoped.
Well, they're not that far from their first pit stop, even with the caution that we had. At 82% fuel, we suspect a full run is right around 45 laps or so, give or take. Maybe even less than that. I would suspect they are on the cusp of making their first stops here. Not too far from now, I would imagine. Those tanks are going to run out before those tires are ever going to give up.
I would say within about 10 laps or so, you'll start to see them peel off, and you will lose a lap here on the pit stop. So that's a little bit problematic to that part of the strategy. If you know that you're going to lose some time on the track here, they can only hope that they can get out right with that pack there and start to gain some time. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Actually, I think Wagner might be in the wall in turn 4. It looks like he got a little bit of a push there, and Vitor got into the back of him.
Oh, and Coker was involved in that one too.
Yeah, all three of those guys were racing very hard. They're starting to lose the pack a little bit and trying their best to get ahead to say, hey, I'll catch that pack if you just let me go. But Vitor didn't seem to really be interested in letting those guys go there. And now it looks like Coker and Vitor are going to do that swap draft situation. Ooh, it's very, very crazy battle going on here between Murphy and Teed. Looks like Stouffer might actually take advantage and take that spot from Teed if he gets down the straightaway fast enough, but Teed has that draft from Mark Murphy up ahead.
Wagner coming to pit road has a meatball flag. He must answer the meatball as you see the lighting effects on pit road. Not the best here. But there he is. He'll come to pit road, actually execute the fast repair, I believe, and get the work done on that car, but he is going to go well down in the order. He's down and away.
And as you saw, you lose that lap once you do that pit stop there. So I believe LGN might be coming in this lap.
LGN down.
Enter the pits. Yes.
Yep, 45 miles per hour, pit road speed limit. Slowly down pit road to find his spot. LGN started 8th in this race, so about midway down the pack here. He will find his stall.
Teed looking again at Mark Murphy in turn 3, cannot get that pass completed. Kirkenbauer is your leader right now, and that pack has closed up considerably. They're less than a second behind Kirkenbauer now, so I think he's going to peel off soon to the pits, which will relinquish the lead over to Mark Murphy, and if Teed has anything to say about it, hopefully it's him.
And we'll see if Kirkenbauer makes the dive down to pit road this time, and he does. He comes down off the banking below the yellow line, needs to get down to the 45 miles per hour speed limit on the limiter, and he does. And the Prodigy will make his roll down pit road to actually the 20th. He started 20th, so he's going to be mostly down towards the end of pit road there. There he is, turning into his stall, making his first ever start here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. The Prodigy, fairly youngin'. His dad, Clay, helps him out on the sim and getting some early lead and the lap times here in his Dark Horse career. Down and away, off of pit road. Mark Murphy now is your leader. Teed second, Stouffer third. Then a little bit of a gap back to Gary Lovern, Peterson, and Forsyth. Also in there is Jeff Hysong, who was pretty fast in practice.
Yeah, we got to start considering when this next group of cars will make their first green flag pit stop. As you know, they already pitted under the yellow, so they can go about 12, 13 more laps than LGN and Kirkenbauer. Oh, there's contact with Gary Lovern.
Oh, and we got one launched into the fence. Big launch into the fence. Craig Forsyth.
That was a very, very bizarre, very slow speed, slow train wreck, train crash kind of wreck there, Gary. Gary Lovern got pitched sideways by Peterson at the exit of turn 2 there, it looks like, and the cars behind had nowhere to go.
Oh, and another car got pinched up against a wall when Forsyth went to the bottom. That is, I'm not sure who that was. Trying to go through who that was. Clindy, who got pinched on the bottom. Go back again. Let's go back to the battle with Forsyth here. Also involved, how Hysong doesn't have any damage on this is beyond me. He had the net code through all of it. But it looks like Peterson, Lovern comes down on Peterson, and he thought he was clear, and maybe a little bit of net code there. But watch Hysong as he morphs through all of it. Everybody on pit road. And Murphy gets out in front of Stouffer. Coker up to third now. Hysong did execute the fast repair, so he did get some phantom damage there. He is now fourth. Charlie Teed will be the lone driver for the Dark Horse squad. He is in fifth now. Clindy up to sixth. But it looks like our last winner, Eric Peterson, is not going to have a repeat here. Although starting off well, he is now on pit road with considerable repairs.
You're right, Gary. I have no idea how Jeff Hysong got through that wreck without any damage, because cars were flying in every which direction. I think it was just a matter of getting through straight there don't think Jeff even needed to really dodge anyone if he kept going. So very, very lucky for Jeff there. It was a very, the whole entire wreck itself was just a kind of a bizarre situation because the cars were just kind of riding through turn 2 slowly, and all of a sudden Lovern's car just started to pitch a little bit.
Let's go back in time and watch this just from Haisong's point of view here, and we're going to go back. I'm going to put it on the roll bar, and we're going to watch it at full speed. Just how fast everything happened in front of Haisong. Here he is going in the 1.
Looks like he actually almost kind of drove through a ghost situation.
Yeah.
As Gary Gatto always says, sometimes the iRacing gods just are watching over you.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the gods taketh, sometimes they giveth, and he got a little forgiveness there. He still had to use a fast repair, but it could have been a whole lot worse for Jeff Haisong, who is currently now in 4th spot as we're getting ready to come back to the restart. It is now Mark Murphy, Chris Stouffer, Shane Coker, Jeff Haisong, Charlie Teed, Kyle Glenworth, Casey Pahutsky, Vitor Guillermi, Yari, JB is up to 9th down. Mason Mitchum, your entire top 10 has not had a win this season in Dark Horse. Could we be looking at a 5-for-5 situation? The numbers say yes.
Mark Murphy leads the field down to the green here. He's your championship leader without the win, as we were talking about in the pre-race. So if he wins here today, not only will he stamp himself a win, but he'll extend his points lead as well.
Nice jump for Murph. He is your leader into 1 and 2. Stouffer in 2nd. Right behind him is Coker. And Haisong and Teed as we still maintain station for the top 5 as how we restarted, coming to the end of the first lap after the restart. Vitor side by side with JB. JB down low.
We saw Teed having a lot of issues trying to get by Murphy through turn 3 and 4. I wonder if Stouffer is going to have the same difficulty, or if Stouffer is going to find a different line to take that'll get in the lead. It looks like he actually has the advantage going through 3 and 4 right now, so you have a new leader here.
Oh, Murph was thinking about taking it lower, going through the quad oval area. Oh, a little bit of a lift. Coker gets right to the rear pod. Now the door, now the opening is gone. Here comes Coker down low. We're going 3 wide for the lead. In the 3 and 4, Coker's not in the preferred position as those higher lines are the faster lines. Right behind him is Haisong and Teed side by side. The top 5 throw a blanket over him. That is for the lead right there.
That was very interesting from Coker indeed, because if that lower line Teed was using earlier was never going to work, Coker definitely was not going to have an opportunity to do that pass down there, but he actually maintained the same level of pace that Murphy was on the outside, and now you see Murphy's fallen back a little bit. He wasn't able to handle the air quite as well as previous times, and Coker now is going to go here for the lead against Stouffer. Stouffer defends that down low line very nicely there. Can't really quite hold off a big charge on the outside, but he certainly can get through the turn a lot easier with all that clean air he has ahead of him. So Coker's going to definitely play around with a lot of different lines here, and let's see if he can figure something out.
Murph back to 4th. Do you think Murph is letting things play out in front of him as he kind of got shuffled out a little bit? Seems like he's more content on following right now as we get contact going into turn 3. A little bit between Stouffer and Coker.
To answer your first question,
sorry.
To answer your first question there, I think Murphy actually just lost momentum. He got stuck on the outside and didn't have a lot of speed going from that following lap, and he just kind of got swallowed up a little bit. But yeah, that was very, very, very interesting that there was not a bigger contact situation going on there. I think everybody is okay right now. No one's got any real sustainable damage on their car. Jeff definitely lost a little bit of his momentum there, but he's still right there in that mix, and he's picking every lane properly here. So I'm intrigued to see what Jeff can do here going forward. I think he might just be in that mode where he's going to sit behind and play around with different lines to see what's the best for him.
Top 5 all in single file, and they have themselves about a second, 1.2 second lead over the next group of cars, who is being led by Clindy. There is Clindy. Clindy had to execute the fast repair on his last stop, so he needs to tread lightly in the next 100 laps or so, because he does not have another one to fall back on, but he is leading this second pack. Right behind him is Pahutsky. Then a little bit of a gap back to Mason Mitchum, representing the Rebel Alliance there. He is in 8th as Vitor Garami back in 9th and Densdale in 10th. But there is a whole host of cars from 10th on back that are wheel to wheel and nose to tail.
They were working very hard on each other last lap. I actually saw some contact between Turner Johnson and I think that might have been LGN that he was next to at the time through turn 3 and 4, but everyone got away with it. Maybe just a little bit of a kiss of the wing to a tire, a rear tire there, but everyone's good. But look at this pack back here, Gary, like you were mentioning, for the middle part of the teens here. Everyone's going here, and everyone's taking everyone's air, and no one's really able to do anything about it as cars ahead of them begin to pull away.
At some point, these guys up front is like, let's get organized. But staying on the bottom, I notice, is LGN. And he has moved up from the rear of that pack now to second in that pack. Is he going to take a peek on the outside of Wilson going into 3 and 4? And he will have the momentum. So LGN, very racy. He raced from the back of that pack to the front of that pack in about 3 laps and is now leading that pack and now trying to run down the next 2 cars in front of him in the form of Mitchum and Vitor.
Back up front again. Looks like Teed is back to his ways of trying to get that advantage through 3 and 4, but he cannot find that line that does that properly. Stouffer continues to lead, and Murphy, Coker, and Haisong are just kind of hanging out there and trying to pick up the scraps where they can.
At what point do you abandon the bottom in turns 3 and 4 as a plausible line, really, to try to get the lead on somebody?
That's a good question, Gary. I definitely would have done it already if that was the case. It's not working for me there. I got to try somewhere else. Unless it's not really
wait a minute. Like it's going to prove me wrong. He almost gets clear.
Both wrong. He's clear, and he's into the lead now. So looks like Murphy tried that very high line with the swoop down through turn 2 to try and make that move down. He's got that inside line going to 3. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 3 again.
And this time, Murph to the bottom.
Stouffer got hung out to dry big time, very much like Murphy did about 10 laps ago. Now he's dropped to 4th place, and yeah, that outside line, unless you're prepared for it, it's not going to yield a good result for you if you just get pushed up there. So I think that's going to be a key for some of these guys going forward. If I want to try and hurt some guys' momentum on the outside, I want to try and do it a little bit early into the corner and push them up into the gray.
Stouffer in his 13th start in the Dark Horse Racing Series. 13th career start, 3 wins. He did have a win, I believe it was last season when we visited Pocono. We had a bit of the Pocono whisperer in this series, but he has showed up today for the race at Kentucky. Murphy in his 16th career start here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. 2 wins to his credit. And is your points leader.
Tires are starting to wear now big time. You could definitely tell that some of these guys in the top 5 are very comfortable just sitting in the single file formation and waiting for their next pit stop under green flag. As I say that, it looks like Coker might have got a little bit of momentum loss there. Stouffer's ready to pounce on that just as we need, but the one I'm watching here is Jeff Haisong back here in P5. He's not really going for any moves. He's saving his tires. He wants to try and run this stint out probably. Once all the cars kind of peel off ahead of him, if he has a couple of good laps based on whatever tire life he has left, he might actually be able to come out maybe at the front of the pack if he has a great pit stop as well.
Haisong would definitely like to break through. Haisong in his 71st career start here in the Dark Horse Series. No wins, 22 top 5s, 44 top 10s. And would he also love to break his streak? And there goes Coker to the inside. He's going to catch it in the grass. He's going to come back on the racetrack, but he has lost contact with that lead group, and he's very carefully trying to come back up to speed.
That was, because of the lack of tool usage that you mentioned earlier, I find that very interesting that the right rear just decided to go off there, especially in these colder temperatures. You're not really wearing the right rear off too much, but he is in a pretty decent-sized pack with a lot of dirty air that's probably putting a lot of stress on that right rear tire. So the tire decided to give up right there. No damage to the car, just did a little bit of a ride through the grass, but unfortunately, I think Haisong had to lift a little bit, so he left that pack ahead of him a little bit. So now we have a 3-car breakaway for the most part.
Yeah, 6/10 is right about where this draft envelope of this car extends to. So he's on the verge of losing the draft, Haisong is, but he is currently in 4th all by himself. It is Stouffer, Murphy, and Teed, your top 3, and they're going to go 3 wide going into turns 3 and 4 like the start of the Indy 500. And Stouffer is going to come out as your leader.
It definitely seems like that middle lane through 3 and 4, that flatter part of the track that you were mentioning about before, is the optimal line to get through there. With the right amount of banking, the right amount of speed, you can kind of ride that car out a little bit high and spook the car on the outside line a little bit. But that bottom line just can't grip down there to get that cornering speed that you really, really want to take the advantage. So I think it's worth a try. Obviously, if you're down there, you got to do something. You got to keep your momentum going somehow. But I find that interesting that that middle line is the advantageous one at this particular time.
If you're just joining us, this is P1's coverage of the Dark Horse Racing Series presented by The Joy of Driving, coming to you from Kentucky Speedway for The Joy of Driving 225. We've now completed 74 of 150 scheduled laps. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The next race for us here on P1 will be our Monday night doubleheader.
We got cars spinning and hitting the wall on the front straightaway. We're going to have a caution.
Vitor Guillermi. So far, no caution yet. Also involved is Matt Wagner. Also involved is Eric Peterson again. We are not under caution.
Well, so that started with both Wagner and Coker hit the wall coming out of turn 4. I think they both kind of dragged each other up to the wall. Kirkenbauer got a piece of Wagner when he came back down the track again, and cars just started kind of bouncing everywhere. And I think Peterson might have gotten a piece of that as well. It was just a multi-car kind of weird situation that unfolded just because 2 cars hit the wall.
And there's Coker sliding up, but they both go into the wall. I think what happens there is Wags followed him up in there, and then he get rear-ended by Vitor. Wags goes up into the wall. And then we got Anderson comes into the zone and gets into the back of Vitor, but we're not under caution. Back to the race at hand for the lead is now Teed and Haisong are in the battle for 3rd. Make sure to catch our Monday night doubleheader. Race 1 features iRacing, the iRacing Open Wheel Series at Montreal, followed by Race 2 when we go with the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA Open Wheel Series at Michigan. If you like wheel-to-wheel action in the IndyCar, then you will definitely want to watch us right here on P1, your home on Monday nights. Doubleheader coverage starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. The Dark Horse Racing Series is presented to you by The Joy of Driving. You want to follow Mark Cohn's Sim Racing Adventures? Well, he's full of sharp driving and sharp wit. You can subscribe to his channel or follow him on Facebook. All the links you need are in the description. Tonight's Kentucky 225 and the Dark Horse Racing Series is presented by The Joy of Driving. Make sure to check them out on Facebook and YouTube.
Not sure what happened to Teed. I kind of lost sight of the front pack a little bit, but he started to drop back a little bit into the clutches of Haisong, and they had a pretty decent battle last lap, but now they've lost sight of the leaders up here. We're getting close to pit stops again, though, Gary. I'm pretty sure that these drivers are starting to think about what kind of changes they may need and set themselves up for another stint here. We're going to have definitely 2 more stops going forward, but I think this is an opportunity for these guys to take a rest and figure out exactly what they've learned, what the car does, and see how they can maximize their positions going forward here for the end of the race.
Klindy and Pahutsky and this next little group of 2 cars, they are running down Teed and Haisong. Everybody's about 34 laps into their run, with the exception of Luis Nunez. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, LGN, he is 40 laps into his run, so we expect to see him come to pit road anytime. In fact, I think he's doing it right now.
So if we see LGN pitting, that means that Kirkenbauer is not too far behind. He pitted, I think, 2 laps after LGN did last time around. And after that, we saw that the caution came out. So I think that you're going to see these cars probably pit about 8 or 9 laps after Kirkenbauer does. I believe Kirkenbauer might be coming in this time. I believe Hutsky also is coming in this time.
Kirkenbauer down off the banking, and he is coming to pit road, and he sped. Yes, he did. There's that black flag. That was across the line. Too hot for Kirkenbauer. He's going to get a 40-second hold. Also on pit road is Pahutsky. Pahutsky's coming in a little bit early than everyone else. He's on lap 35 of the stint. He went 33 laps into his stint last time. He might be trying to do a bit of an undercut here with a fresh set of tires. So he's up on the jacks, getting a fresh set of tires and full tank of fuel down and away. So Pahutsky see if he can make some hay here by coming into pit road before everybody else. Meanwhile, up front, it is Stouffer, it is Murphy, still swapping the lead back and forth, as they are probably in that window as well. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do notice that they're starting to close very, very slowly on Vitor at the back of the field, so I think that they're going to probably pit right before they get to the car. It's going to be close enough anyway.
As out the back of Vitor's car, looking at the 2 leaders.
I do notice, actually, there was an incident in turn 4 a couple laps ago. There was a car that went into the grass. It might have been Dinsdale? No, it was Turner Johnson. I took a little mowing expedition through the grass there, lap 85. So he seems to be all right. Got back on the track just fine. But that was one little incident. These tires are starting to go off, and these guys are looking for a fresh set of rubber here. And we got some more coming in. Jacob Wilson's coming in. Shane Coker's coming in as well. And Gary Loverns is on pit road.
Jacob Wilson up 8 spots. He started 17th up to P8. He's on pit road. Coker, we saw him take a little bit of a landscaping mission through the quad oval grass area, but he is back rolling. Teed staying out. Stouffer and Murphy side by side now down front row with a 45-mile-per-hour drag race. So who can get, and look at Murphy is just gradually getting in on him there. But he has to kind of slow down a little bit to cut down underneath him. Murph was actually gaining a little time on pit road somehow. I think he might have, is that the old changing the gear trick?
It could have been, or Stouffer might not have been fully pressed on the throttle, perhaps, if he was changing some things for his pit stop. That's always a possibility, but at the end of the day, Stouffer won out, as expected. We got more cars that have dove in here. I think Dinsdale is pitting.
Here comes your leader, Charlie Teed. He gets down to 45 at the cones. That will bring in Brubacher as well. Craig Forsyth will join them on pit road. Dinsdale on pit road. Turner Johnson coming to pit road. Haisong coming off of pit road. He's going to come out behind Stouffer and now behind Murphy.
Stouffer has quite a lead on Murphy now. That's way outside that draft envelope, as you were mentioning. So Haisong is now out of the pit lane. He's going to get passed by LGN. LGN, yes.
But he pops out in front of Klindy. Looks like he's up to speed, so Klindy's going to have to race him for this position. He's going to go high, down low. As Hysong with the new tires has the better line there. Go ahead.
I was going to say, very difficult pit exit. I was watching Craig Forsyth leave the pits, and man, is he hugging that wall. And I could just see the rear tires trying to come up to power and screaming a little bit, and he's moments away from looping that car. But you got to get every inch of advantage you can. So Yari up ahead of him was hugging the inside tire barrier, and I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, this could really be tragic if anyone missteps. But everyone seems to have gotten out just fine. Looks like Greg has joined a group here with Mitchum and Pahutsky, along with Yari. So we have these small groups that are all on the track right now, except for your leaders that have strung it out a little bit. Stouffer is about 1.3 ahead of Murphy. That group that LGN is with Klendy is your next like semi-big pack there. That it seems like they're just going to sit in a single file formation, and now that they've done a full green flag stint, they know how their car is going to react in the traffic situations, and let's just kind of feel things out for this stint and see what you need to make sure you get to the end.
Well, LGN, we're watching the battle between LGN and Teed. LGN has now moved up to third, so that's a little bit of undercut has helped him as he is racing Teed for the bottom step of the podium. Right behind him would be Hysong and Klendy. That is 5th and 6th. Pahutsky 7th, Mitchum in 8th. They are just behind there in a group of 4, including JB and Coker. Also in there is Craig Forsyth, 1 lap down.
Almost 4 wide going into turn 3. Klendy split the difference there and picked up 2 spots. I don't know what happened to LGN there, but he managed to get the advantage there. Now LGN's going to fall to the back of this pack.
I think LGN's given a wide berth. He sees what's going on around him. He's like, I'm going to let you guys go right ahead. I will tuck back in and attack once you guys get organized. But they're 3 wide.
Exactly it. LGN kind of went a little wider than I would have expected through 1 and 2, which gave T that line down on the inside, and that gave him the run down the back straightaway and just dragged Klendy and Mitchum with him. I'm sorry, that's not Mitchum, that's Jeff Hysong.
And now they're in single file, so LGN will try to attack, but Teed is leading this group. Hysong up at the front as well. Klendy in the middle of it. This is a battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack. Your leader right now is Chris Stouffer by 1.7 seconds over Mark Murphy. Remember, they came to pit road together at the same time. In fact, we saw Murphy gain actually on Stouffer a little bit on pit road. In fact, if you look at times on pit road, Murphy was in the box quicker. But overall, Stouffer was on pit road shorter, 36.1 seconds versus Murphy's 36.3. So there's 2/10 right there. And it looks to me that Stouffer just had a more aggressive pit out than what Murphy was able to muster, at least coming up to speed on that stint.
Yeah, he gained on him on the pit road there, but ultimately he had to give way anyway to make sure he got into his box in time. So definitely a net gain in terms of the pit stop time and everything, but I think in terms of the actual positioning, he was always going to have to concede to Stouffer a little bit. But you never know what the situation is if you got to pit under yellow, if you have some sort of advantage, or if you're really focused on your speed, that can really help you in a situation to pick up 1 or 2 spots if needed in a situation like that. So good on Murphy to figure something out there. Or he might have just caught Stouffer sleeping, like I mentioned before. But I'm watching this battle for 3rd here, and I think Hysong just kind of gave up a little bit to Klendy. Klendy seemed like he wanted to be the one to lead the pack. He felt boxed in, and Hysong just let him go. He's been kind of blocking the bottom, but Klendy's finally got the bottom now, so I think he's going to have that spot.
Well, with 50 to go, there's still plenty of time. You don't need to grab every position right now. But this is the battle that we've been watching for 3rd. Wags has checked in from the Infield Care Center. He says he is done, and he says good night to everybody. So Wags is out, and currently 20 cars are still running. 14 are on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is Turner Johnson.
This pack behind that third place pack is also very feisty. These are guys that have had some misfortune this race thus far in terms of contact and general not really finding the right line coming out of turn 3 and 4 in particular. So this is a very feisty group of people, but they're all battling each other and they're losing grip on that front pack. That pack for third place has kind of settled down a little bit. I think everyone kind of knows where they belong in this pack. And
there's contact, and Husky's around off of 4, but I don't think he touches anything. But it does bring out the caution.
Is that the feisty pack?
That was the feisty pack behind, yes.
That's the one I was just mentioning, yes.
But here we see up high.
I think there was contact, actually.
Yeah,
Gary.
I think he shot across the nose of Coker. And maybe a little bit of net code involved there and gets sent on around.
That looks very much like the Gary Lovern
yes, it did.
Crash from earlier.
Oh, there was legit contact there. That was not net code. He just sent them all around. That hole filled up really quick.
Well, are we thinking about a fuel save situation, Gary? I think you said 42-ish laps on the stint, and we're about 45 to go here. So I think if you have any people at the back of the field that might want to top off at the end of the yellow period, that could be a situation for some of these guys that were struggling.
Yeah, I think certainly if you're Pahutsky now, Turner, Johnson, Dinsdale, Jacob Wilson, if you come to pit road now, which I believe all of them are, to fill the tank up and to get a new set of Firestone tires. I think before you go green, you come down one more time and you top that tank off and get a few more precious ounces of fuel to maybe make you go a little bit longer. And maybe with a fuel save, you could get to the end. You're right at the window as Coker misses his marks. So that's going to cost him a little time on pit road. Stouffer's down and away. He will continue to hold on to the lead. Murphy second. Teed is in third. Clindy now up to fourth. Hysong in fifth. Mason Mitchum beats LGN off for sixth and seventh. Brubacher, JB is eighth. Coker ninth. Jacob Wilson in 10th. So Wilson, Dinsdale, Pahutsky, and Turner Johnson. I think there's some guys that stayed out that are going to try to get the wave around. So
Turner Johnson's still in his box, actually. I wonder what's going on there.
And maybe he's going to go for that. Yeah, he's
here he goes.
Taking sweet time. I mean, saving fuel, not moving, I guess, on pit road, I guess, is one way to do it. Maybe getting a bit of a liquid refreshment for himself, but he's now moving. Craig Forsyth back on the lead lap. He is on coming off of pit road. Kirkenbauer, the same thing. Now we see who we got? Peterson and Eric. No, that's Gary Lovern coming to pit road. They are 1 and 2 laps down, respectively. So we've picked up a few more cars on the lead lap. Joseph Morales in Kirkenbauer, Vitor. They're getting the wave around right now. They will go to the end of the field. Thing is, they will not have time to come to pit road.
Look who's pitting for the top off.
Craig Forsyth.
Peterson and Gary Laverne also have pit. So interesting, they have a tiny bit more fuel, not much more fuel than those that just pitted a lap prior, but enough where it could make that difference, and it might make the fuel save easier for them if that's what these guys are looking to do.
So Vitor's
stretch, Gary.
Yeah, I think it is too. We will see. It's going to be interesting. Vitor stayed out. He got the wave around, but he's now on the lead lap, but he's 31 laps into his stint. Same thing with Kirkenbauer. Stayed out, got the wave around, 23 laps into his stint as they're trying to sort things out coming to the green flag. So those guys are going to they're hoping for another caution right off the bat, or they're going to have to pit here not too far in the distant future, and they're going to go back down another lap. We're coming to the green flag this time. Stouffer is your leader. Murphy second, Teed third, Clindy fourth, Hysong fifth. And this, hopefully, maybe will we see a 43-lap sprint to the finish. Here we go. Green flag with 43 to go.
Oh, I see a pass with Yari there. I believe that was an outside pass, so I don't think he'll get a black flag for that one. But very, very sneaky for Yari. He's been very, very quiet this race, but picking up spots very methodically, which is exactly a Brubacher thing to do. He doesn't pick up the spot necessarily, actually. It looks like he's kind of fallen back behind Mason. But that splits that group up a little bit. So Mitchum didn't have the start that he wanted here, so now we're going to break up into 2 packs yet again.
Coker goes around on the high side, and with that momentum, Elise gets a wheel to Mitchum's back pod there. Now, the bottom line through 1 and 2 is the preferred and faster line. He pulls out a little bit of a lead, but the draft pulls Coker back on ahead. Coker now move him up the 7th spot. He gets 2 positions on that lap. Clindy around T.
Right now on that outside line, he's making something work there. The draft is down low, but he's got something going on the exit of 4 there, so I think he's going to hold that in his back pocket for when he needs it. 3 wide into turn 3, 4 wide.
Whoa, and Stouffer, I think, just got shuffled out, and wisely says, yeah, you boys go for it, as there's still 3 wide at the start-finish line for P2, 3, and 4.
I think Stouffer got spooked by Clendy there. I thought he was going to hold a move in his back pocket, but he wound up kind of doing exactly what he did the lap previous, and it worked for him, and he has taken the lead. But Teed is doing his normal turn 3 move here, and it's going to be close. Doesn't quite get it. Clendy holds on to it. I'm sorry, that's Murphy, isn't it? Clendy's the car behind.
Teed in his 81st career start in a league that he helps run. Only 1 career win. Could he be looking at win number 2 tonight? He is certainly in the running. Clendy looking for his first win in the series. LGN's looking for another win in the series. He's a multi-time winner here.
Yes, I apologize. That was Murphy that made that move there, not Clendy. He's in 3rd place still at the moment. Murphy went kind of high there. Through turn 1 and 2, very similar to what we've seen happen a few times here. T's going to take the lead, and Clendy's going to push Murph a little bit high. Stouffer has found himself a nice line on the bottom there, hanging Murphy out to dry. Not enough draft for Murphy to really pick up any spots there, so Teed is your leader. He's going to pull Stouffer on that bottom line along with him, and if Stouffer can find a little opening here, expect him to shoot to the outside.
Once again, if you're just joining us, this is P1 broadcasting coverage of round 5 of 9 of the Dark Horse Racing Series presented by the Joy of Driving, coming to you from Kentucky Speedway for the Joy of Driving 225, where Charlie Teed is currently your leader with 36 laps to go. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you'll miss out on the next race. The next race for us here in the Dark Horse Racing Series is actually in 2 weeks. We will return to action when we go to Fontana Auto Club Speedway, and a track that we know races very well in these cars. Very entertaining races tend to go on there in these cars. That is the 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on P1. You won't want to miss that one.
Got a little single file situation going on right now here for this top spot. It looks like LGN's making a move on Mark Murphy. I think he might have it complete, but Teed is holding strong up there. Teed has always been the car in this race in particular that seems to be the best at leading. He can hold that bottom line as best as he possibly can.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that second group has caught them now. They are not saving. I think this lead group is trying to save. This second group is like, no, man, we are pedal to the floor. We're going to run you down. But now all of a sudden, the top 8, top 9, you can throw a blanket under them. And here comes Andy Kirkenbauer leading this next group, and they're going to be there momentarily. They're not saving fuel because they want to catch him, and they're there now.
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm scratching my head at what happened to Teed on the last lap. I don't know if he suddenly decided he wanted to do a fuel save.
Look at these lap times. Oh, there it is. There's the contact. The lap times, they were under 200 miles an hour, but Dinsdale is in the wall. We got Johnson flipping. And I think we got Craig Forsyth involved again.
That one, I think, yeah. Once you start slowing on the track like that, Gary, no one in the back knows what's going on. You're going foot to the floor, as you mentioned. Turner Johnson's doing major pirouettes. But someone like Turner Johnson, how is he supposed to know that cars up ahead of him have slowed about 20 to 30 miles per hour where they should be? And next thing you know, that's just asking for an accident.
So, yeah, the closing rate, and he goes into the side and the back of Dinsdale and then comes up and grabs Forsyth as Dinsdale, as you said, pirouettes. That's Turner Johnson, excuse me. And this is, yeah, we'll go back a little bit further here. And I think, yeah, I think you're right. The second group, I guess how do you know? I guess is how quickly you catch that lead group. You got to know at some point that they're trying to save. And watch this. Close your eyes if you easily get sick. Look at this. Oh, my goodness.
That was quite the move there. Cars are down on pit road. I think people are done with the fuel save. It's no longer a thing. So top off on any couple of milk gallons of fuel that you need and come back out, and then we're going to have a race to the finish.
Well, staying out. Clindy stays out. Stouffer stays out. Vitor came to pit road. And actually, those guys that stayed out and got the wave around, they got that early caution, so they were back on schedule with everyone else. So they just stopped. But Clindy and Stouffer stayed out. Vitor, he is 2 laps. So he just started his stint, so he must have pitted right away. Or maybe possibly was coming to pit road when that caution came out. Nunez stopped just now. Murphy just stopped now. Teed stopped now. We got some shuffling going on here on the restart. Dinsdale is going back to 9th, 10th. Maybe he's got a penalty to go to the back. Did he enter a closed pit road or something? And
I believe he was collecting that incident, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. But I think he's going to the end of the line, I think. I think he might have entered a closed pit road. Here comes Lover now in pit road. He's going to stop and top off. Forsyth is showing with the meatball flag. His day might be done. Same thing with Turner Johnson. There we see Eric Anderson going down, that's Peterson going down pit road. Eric Anderson's back in 19th there. 3 laps down. The top 15 are on the lead lap. Yeah, so I think Dinsdale's going back to the end of the line on penalty there. So Clindy and Stouffer are going to roll the dice. And they are going to stay out with 16-lap-old tires. Right behind them is Vitor with much fresher tires. And Luis Gonzalez Nunez with the freshest tires. We're coming to the green flag this time by. We're going to go green with 28 laps to go. Tonight's race has been brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in the description. SimRat Market is your go-to source as we go green flag on the racetrack for iRacing paint templates and broadcast resources. SimRat Market has everything you need to build your brand there on track. Visit simratmarket.com. Download, customize, race. It is Clindy, Stouffer, Luis Nunez, and Vitor Guillermi off of turn 2 down the backstretch with Mark Murphy in tow.
I'll be curious to see if these guys that stayed out are going to do some sort of fade, like Homer into the hedges meme, just fade back into the pack there to save any necessary fuel. And if they don't do that, then that gives us some sort of indication that they may be okay to go to the finish if they don't want to lose those spots.
Homer into the hedges. Caution! Coker!
I think I've kind of shut off that fuel save situation.
Yeah, I
now.
think fuel save is gone. And Coker and Pahutsky were in a pretty tight battle there. Neither one gave much room for either one of them and puts Coker into the wall. Everyone misses Coker, but that is he's got the meatball. I don't think he's going to be able to drive that back. So he will have to, well, maybe. We'll see. But he's going to have to probably execute that fast repair after a tow. Chris Stouffer, 3 career wins here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. Clindy only in his second start, looking for his first win. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, he has 4 career wins here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. Vitor, no wins, looking for his first. And Mark Murphy with 2 career wins. But I think the likelihood of getting another winner, different winner this season is pretty good here, with Peterson, Wagner, Martins, and Schaus. Schaus and Martins not in the lineup. Wagner done and Peterson well down in the order. We are looking at 5 winners and 5 races, guaranteed now here to start this season. And Mark Murphy looking to continue his points lead as he's sitting there in P5. And everyone in front of him. I think Guillermi's been in all races this season. I think Nunez has been in all races this season. So I think Nunez and Guillermi will probably gain on Murphy a little bit if we were to finish like this right now. But I think Murphy is looking to extend his points lead here for the most part, if he can get himself another good finish.
I think that it seems that these guys that have stayed out have done a little bit of good strategy play here, especially someone like Vitor, who is sitting about 10th, 11th, or 12th or so earlier. He lost that spot on the start, but if he could pull this off along with Stouffer and Klenworth, I think that'd be a good call that they'll look back on.
Going down through our order before the restart is Stouffer, Clindy, Luis Gonzalez, Nunez, Vitor, Guillermi, Mark Murphy. That is your top 5. Charlie Teed, who's been in the top 5 all night long today. He is in 6th. Jeff Heisong, who's been up in the top 5 for much of this race, is in 7th. Yari Brubacher, a very Yari-like race. You mentioned this before. Very quietly has worked his way up inside the top 10. Also joining him, the prodigy, Indy Kirkenbauer in 9th. And Mason Mitchum, who we've not talked about an awful lot today, is in 10th. That is your top 10. We're getting ready to go green with 23 laps to go. Do we see what type of jump is Stouffer going to get? Is he going to go early? Is he going to go late? He can go any time now, and he's waiting. Now he's on it as he pulls away from Clindy, LGN, Guillermi, and Murphy going into 1. He's already got himself a 0.3 of a second lead, but Clindy right in the draft envelope.
Very orderly start up and down the field. Everyone's kind of still in it here. We seem to have about 10, 11 cars that are still in the drafts. Looks like they're kind of falling off a little bit towards the back of the field, but that's all these guys need to continue to follow the car ahead of them and bring themselves back up towards the front again. And I'm very curious to see if the old tire strategy of these guys up front is actually going to work out.
Not the greatest restart for Vitor, as that group now continues to fall back a little bit, and Mark Murphy needs to get around Vitor if he has any hopes of running them down that lead pack.
Wondering if that old tires might have had something to do with that, as he's one of the ones that stayed out before. Looks like Murphy might have the position here, and he's going to be close enough probably to start to bring that pack up towards the front.
Murph down to the bottom. He's going to try the low side in 3 and 4. And he's going to clear him. And he will now lead this pack. He's going to try to run down the leader. Stouffer. Oh! Through the grass is Vitor. Doing a little bit of, not just landscaping, but a little bit of trimming for the landscaping there. Dipping his tires down into the grass. Yeah.
I think they're 3 wide up front. That's going to bring this whole entire pack forward. Murphy closes like half of a turn's width, and now he's finding himself, what lane do I go to? Where will my car fit? Next thing you know, now we got a 10-car battle for the lead here. And as you mentioned, Murphy is the points leader, and I think as he's winless so far, he wants to make sure that he puts himself in the conversation. He loses a little bit in turn 3 and 4 there. Falls back to 5th place, and gets boxed in now where there's no real opportunity for him to pick up another spot here.
LGN's going to be married to that bottom line. Here comes Clinty. He tries to tuck himself in. And here comes Indy Kirkenbauer. The Prodigy's all of a sudden back in the battle. Oh,
very close contact.
And that takes out, it's going to take out Murph and Clinty. That was netcode. That was netcode.
That was unfortunate.
That was very unfortunate.
I must say, Gary, I hate to put a stain on the P1 broadcasting, but those are all broadcasters that we see here on the channel that have managed to tangle themselves up with each other. I'm afraid I didn't know to say it, but that's one thing I noticed.
And yeah, there was at least a wheel width in between there. But that takes out our points leader and one of our race challengers. And I think Mark was going to be able to get the fast repair, but unfortunately he has to tow. I'm not, as Eric Anderson rolled through the zone, I think clipped Clindy. I think Clindy might be able to drive that one back.
Murphy was on his, I don't know, Clindy was kind of got the front and the back of the car in the wall there.
Oh, and I see Clinty's already used the fast repair, so he's just staying out for as long as he can here. As Turner Johnson looks like he's getting the lucky dog wave around there.
I find that very interesting that Clindy is able to drive that one back because he got the front and the back of the car. And he got contact from, I think, what might have been Haisong coming through there. So I believe, yeah, he's gonna be sitting in the pits for a while if he wants to come back out. But we only have 15 laps left in this race.
So your leader, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, you hear him here on the network, on the channel on a regular basis. He is your leader. He has 4 career wins here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. Finished on the podium in the last race. Indy Kirkenbauer in his first ever start here in the Dark Horse Series. I call him the Prodigy. He is, now his dad's Clay, and his dad is normally spotting and helping him out. But Indy is only, I believe, 13, maybe 14 years old. And so he is very much a young talent on the rise. I believe he does karting and dirt racing for real. I could be wrong there from when I've been talking with his dad, but a pretty impressive iRacing resume for this guy. And then right behind him is Charlie T, trying to finish in the footsteps of his teammate, who got a win, long sought after win, in the last race we were at Iowa. Can Teed back up a win for the Dark Horse squad? Jeff Heisong has not had a win here in the series. Can he get his first win? And then Jari Brubacher, again, once again, we talked about a very Jari-like race, very quiet. But when the going gets to where it's time to go to the pay window at the end of the day, Jari all of a sudden pops up and is visible up there. And Jari has 27 starts here in the league, and hard to believe, in his 27 previous starts, he has 10 top 10s, 10 top 5s, 22 top 10s, but no wins for Jari either. Do we see a new winner out of this? A new first-time winner?
That is definitely a possibility as we continue to talk about these guys that are really trying to go for it here. Kentucky is one of those tracks that anything can happen, but Luis Gonzalez Nunez definitely has a strong car here, so he's going to be looking to hold on to this for the next 15 laps.
And if I'm him, I do not come off the bottom at all. I stay on the bottom if I can.
Also, what I find interesting, Gary, is that Kirkenbauer and Gonzalez Nunez were those two drivers that went on that alternate strategy early on in the race that kind of blended back into the strategy that everyone else is on. But interesting that they both found their way back up here again after being on a strategy that may have been a disadvantageous one, looking back on it.
Glindy coming off of pit road on the bottom. LGN now the leader, and here comes Kirkenbauer to the low side. Teed to the low side. He tries to stick a wheel in there, and I think he makes contact with Kirkenbauer. Gets him loose a little bit, but Kirkenbauer keeps it under him. LGN's going to maintain the lead. We are 3 wide, coming behind him for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
There was definitely contact, Gary. I was watching it happen right in front of my very eyes, and sure enough, Teed was very wise to back out of that one. But I think Kirkenbauer realized that he was closing up on Gonzalez Nunez, but Teed was closing fast, and he was quickly getting boxed in. So I don't think he really had a choice in the matter but to put his car where he did.
Coming to 10 to go next time by. Kirkenbauer trying the high side, but it's not going to work in 1 and 2. 1 and 2, the bottom line is the preferred line. Now Kirkenbauer needs to get under LGN. LGN comes off the corner, protects to the bottom, now fades out top. Kirkenbauer now on the faster line, up on the higher side, but LGN on that middle lane is going to get a good launch off, and they are 2 by 2 by 2 for 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Teed is trying to find a lane that works for him right now, and I don't think he's found one that works best for him. It's having a hard time on the bottom.
Caution. And I'm not sure who it is. Turner Johnson.
It looks like he actually had contact with Murph. That was a nasty wreck, Gary.
A lot of net code there, but contact with Murph, and that was nose first into the wall. And it reminds me of that Sebastian Bourdais wreck when he was qualifying for Indianapolis in one of these style cars. And that was day done for Turner Johnson, who's already used his fast repair. And now we're back under caution one more time here with less than 10 laps to go. And this is going to shuffle the field. This is going to put all the, if we hadn't had it before, and I wasn't paying attention on that last restart, but we're going to put all the cars on the lead lap together now. That's going to be your top 13. Let's LG and Indy 1 and 2. Stouffer and Teed 3 and 4. Brubacher, Heisong, Wilson, Jomo, who is up 13 spots. He started shotgun on this field. He is at 8th. He's in the top 10. Gary Lovern, who has recovered from a spin earlier in this race. He qualified 5th. He has now worked his way back to 9th. Mason Mitchum in 10th. Vitor 11th. Casey Pahutsky 12th. Dinsdale in 13th. That is your top 13. They are all on the lead lap. They will all get shuffled to the front and be in direct contact with one another when we go green here in just a couple of laps. Once again, thanks for joining us. We're late stages here, and the joy of driving 225 from Kentucky Speedway. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you've not done so already to the channel. A pretty exciting race going on right here. We're guaranteed our 5th different winner to start the season. That shows you the parity of this series. And speaking of this series, if you want to race, if you want to join the Dark Horse Racing Series, the car is free, the league's free. All you need are the tracks and the drive. Click on the Discord link in the description to get started and to learn more to join the Dark Horse Racing Series today.
I think we'll be restarting with about 7 to go, if I'm not mistaken, and that's 7 laps more that Luis Gonzalez Nunez is going to have to try and figure out how to hold off Kirkenbauer. He's been able to hold Kirkenbauer off for much of the time that they've been racing together in the early stages of the race, but will he be able to hold him off? Does Kirkenbauer have anything for him? A little move that has not been tried yet. It's always a possibility, so I'm very excited to see how this one plays out.
And Kirkenbauer
is no slouch either. Yeah,
Kirkenbauer is like is in the old dog sandwich right now. I mean, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, he's won at the Lionheart level in these cars. He's been in numerous points championships. We heard him talk about in the past in the Indy Oval and the Indy Fix series here on iRacing, where he's finished, almost got the championship. He's got a 2nd, got a 3rd before. Number of wins in other league races, a lot of starts in these cars. And then we got right behind him Christopher, who started off the ISRA Open Wheel Series this year with 2 straight wins and then 3 straight podiums. Every race that he's finished, with the exception of 1, has been on the podium, but unfortunately he had to miss 2 races, so he's not necessarily one of the points leaders, but it's going to be one of the points challengers when we shake it all out here as we get to the final stages of the ISRA season. Of course, winner in the Lionheart Series, also winner in Area 51. Tons of start for Christopher. He also won one of the splits for the Indy 500s over Indy 500 weekend for the official Indy 500s here on iRacing. Lots of experience. And then we got someone in the middle, Indy Kirkenbauer, still learning these cars. So does experience beat out ability? We're going to find out. We're going green with 6 to go and a big jump for LGN as we are back underway here at Kentucky. Sprint to the end.
Got 6 laps to go. Everyone's pretty strung out in a nice organized fashion, so with any luck, some of these guys are going to start to close up and go for it. Looks like Luis Gonzalez Nunez is already starting that snake move, kind of preparing himself for what's coming, and Stouffer's got the outside line working as he always does. He might have a bit of something to say to Nunez up here.
Nunez trying, as they call, run the dragon, to break the draft down the backstretch. He's going to stay on the bottom, but Kirkenbauer's going to take a 3 wide into 3. Coming to 4 to go. Kirkenbauer stays low, but I don't think he's going to make it hold down there as that middle line comes in, and that top line finally comes in on the corner of exit 4, and it's going to be a drag race down the front stretch at the quad oval area. There's 1 and 2, Stouffer and Nunez. Stouffer led that time by 4 to go.
Stouffer is the king of finding that high line and finding the best way to get it to work, and he found it last time, and if the race was over last lap, he would have been the winner. So he's going to keep trying to use that to his advantage, but I'm pretty sure he wants to find his way to the low side.
And we're 3 wide for 4th, 5th, and 6th behind him. LGN tries to make his DW12 as wide as possible. Now he gets to the bottom as Kirkenbauer gets a run on the bottom. He slams the door on Kirkenbauer. They come off the corner, coming to 2 to go this time. Kirkenbauer goes low, but he's just not going to have the momentum down there. Here comes Haisong on the high side.
Car in the wall in turn 3. I believe that might have been Vitor. They went 4 wide into turn 3. Pahutsky.
And they're spinning at the start-finish line, Charlie Teed, and the race is done. Luis Gonzalez Nunez is going to be your winner as we're going to finish this race under caution.
Let's check out that 4 wide, Gary, if you want to see something wild. Turn 3, that previous lap.
And it's Brubacher and T just running out of room on the low side there. And Jomo just sneaks on by. White flag is in the air, and your winner is going to be Luis Gonzalez Nunez. And Indy Kirkenbauer is going to come home second. And just as you mentioned, Andrew, those two guys are the guys that stayed out on that very first pit stop, and they got the track position, and that got them up into the rotation up at the front. Otherwise, they would have been a little bit further back. Luis Gonzalez Nunez started 8th. Kirkenbauer started 20th. Track position, even on a draft track like this, really means everything. And they're going to finish 1-2. And Chris Stouffer is going to come home 3rd. And Heisong doesn't get that first win, but he's going to get a top 5 out of it. He comes home 4th.
Five different races, 5 different winners, like you mentioned, Gary. It's incredible that this series has that much parity, and all these guys that may have a bad race one week, but you can always come back and have a shot to win it next week. And that's what all these guys will be thinking as we continue on with the season.
And one of the things that I noticed here on the, and we don't see it until the race is finished, and then it populates our timing and scoring screen, is number of incidents. And that those points come up, the number of incident points. Indy Kirkenbauer, the lowest number of incidents out of everybody in this race. Probably he is the youngest driver, might have the least amount of experience in these cars. Only 2 incident points. Everybody else, 4 or more.
That's incredible.
And winner under caution is Luis Gonzalez Nunez, my buddy. And you will hear him next week when we bring you the action of the Votive Indy Oval Series. He gets the win. Indy Kirkenbauer, the prodigy, comes home in 2nd. Chris Stouffer in 3rd. Heisong 4th. Gary Lovern recovers from an early caution and an early contact to come home 5th. Bahunsky 6th. Mason Mitchum 7th. Jacob Wilson, another top 10 for him. He very quietly got into the top 10. He comes home 8th. Vitor 9th, and Jomo, who started shotgun on the field, comes home 10th. In fact, your biggest gainers there, Kirkenbauer up 18, Mitchum up 12, Jomo up 11. Dinsdale 11th, Brubacher 12th, Clindy 13th, Teed 14th, Murphy 15th, Eric Anderson 16th, Peterson 17th, Forsyth 18th, Johnson, Coker 19th and 20th. And Matt Wags comes home in the 21st position. Not a day he wanted. Wow. What a race. All right, let's get the replays in here, starting, and then we'll bring up Chris Stouffer to talk about his first start of the season. All right. Let's get into the interview room here. Talk to our 3rd place finisher, and he's there. We'll bring him up, and here he is, Chris Stouffer. Making his, I believe this is your first start of the season, but getting a podium here at Kentucky. A nice run for you. Started up front, finished up front. But again, it looked like people were kind of searching for the best line in turns 3 and 4, and it looks like maybe you were able to latch on something pretty early there in turns 3 and 4 to really help your cause.
Yeah. I got during practice before the race, I noticed it was really easy to overdrive the car. And then if you did overdrive the car, that it pushed a lot more. So it was just just putting in just enough wheel into it to get it to turn, and that really worked out.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, Chris, I'm wondering, you had been one of those drivers that stayed out during that caution where everybody was driving about 20 miles per hour slower. I'm wondering if you had any thoughts of trying to do well, I guess everyone was trying to do a fuel save at the time, but after that caution, were you going to be able to make it going full rich?
Yeah, I think it would have been close with that one caution, but we got a couple other cautions in there, and then thankfully, the tires never really got a chance to heat up all the way, so it that didn't even make that much of a difference either, having new tires versus old tires. So it worked out both ways. I will say there was one point in the race where I had about a 2-second lead. It could have gone green from there. I would have been real happy. But it was still fun out here. I don't know if fun's the word. It's actually pretty stressful because the these cars were packed up pretty well, and so a lot of um, I don't know. It's just a lot of white knuckle driving, I guess.
Well, congratulations on the P3. Like I said, I believe this is your first start of the season. So I don't know if we're going to see any more races this season. I hope we do. But congratulations. Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anyone want to say hi to?
Thank you guys up here in the booth for broadcasting. Thank you, and for everybody in the league, putting on the league, and of course 40raceware.com, and go to 40raceware.com for all your sim racing needs. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night.
That is Chris Stouffer finishing second here tonight. I got a message from Eric. Yeah, he said points are updated. We will tell everybody the updated points. And LGN says, I think he's going to be here. So we will be looking forward to him. Let's take a look at the points just really quick before bringing Indy up for his first start. Points-wise, Mark Murphy is still your leader. 156 is his points total. He has a 28-point lead over Peterson, who we mentioned at the start of this race was Schaus and John Martins not starting. Peterson now moves up to second in the standings. Only 28 behind Murph. Schaus is now third. John Martins is in fourth, and a tie with fourth with Casey Pahutsky, who is now fourth with John Martins. John Martins, I believe, gets the tiebreaker because he's got the win earlier this season. Only 1 point behind the battle for fourth is we now have a tie for fifth. LGN is now tied with Matt Wagner and they're only 1 point behind the duo of Martins and Pahutsky. Martins and Pahutsky have 112 points. Luis Gonzalez Nunez and Matt Wagner have 111. And Jacob Wilson, who very quietly, he got I believe he opened the season or had one of the opening races in the season, had a podium finish. He is now in the top 10. He has 105 points, teed right behind Wilson with 96. And Craig Forsyth kind of on the bottom end of the top 10 right now with 93 points. And then only 1 point behind Forsyth is High Song and Lovern. So, and 1 point behind them is Turner Johnson. So really, about the top 15 is pretty close together, with the exception of Peterson has a little bit of distance from Schaus, and Murphy has a little distance on Peterson. So the points battle heating up now as we're getting into the second half of the season. Let's bring up Indy Kirkenbauer into the booth. Here is Indy. Congratulations on your first start and first podium here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. I got to ask you, though, we know that you don't have an awful lot of starts in these cars specifically. We know that you've been working on the IR18s on the votive side of things. How was your experience? Obviously, probably pretty good for finishing second. Obviously, but the other thing is, who made the call to stay out on that first pit stop and brought you all the way up to the front? Was that you or your dad made the call?
No, my dad wasn't down here, but I've never driven this car. That 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 call really hurt me.
It did?
It's just I got lucky later in the race.
Okay.
Uh, when we went up there, I had to pit earlier than everybody else, and I sped on pit road there and
Hmm.
was 2 laps down at one point, and that made me. And then there was a yellow while I was 2 laps down. And if there wasn't, I would have, if I pitted there, I would have been able to stay out to that point and would have been on the lead lap. And I ended up getting my laps back on that restart, and maybe I was only one down, but I had 40 seconds for speeding. Uh,
Yeah, we saw
once
the
I
black
got,
flag. We saw the black flag, yeah.
yeah, when I pulled on the apron, I gave it too much gas, but when I pulled back out, I gained a bunch of spots, got up to the big pack, and then late in the race, nobody was really wrapping that bottom in four, and I went from ninth to third, well, second in 2 laps, and that's right when um Kalendi got wrecked. So then I was able to be in second, and you just can't really pass. When you're on the bottom, someone on the outside can squeeze you and get you aero tight, and if you're on the top, you don't have enough momentum to make it around there once you get up to the leader. So it's just really hard to pass.
You kind of got a crash course, and I'm going to give the next question to Andrew here in just a second. Kind of got a crash course. I know you're still kind of new to these cars, and you're still learning on the IndyCar side of things, but Luis Gonzalez Nunez in front of you, tons of starts in these cars, a winner at the Lionheart level, winner here many times. This will be his 5th win today in the Dark Horse Series. Then behind you, Chris Stouffer, another experienced driver. Did you learn anything from those guys, being that they have so many more starts in these cars than you, as you're kind of racing them for positions here late in the race?
I mean, I was just going as fast as I could. I probably backed it down a little bit too much in 3 and 4. I knew Netco was bad. So you kind of had to back it down. I could have probably pushed more when I got under him. I probably wouldn't have cleared him the 3 wide, but the last lap there, if I could have I could have got some bad air on his left front, but I haven't driven these things until whenever the session opened tonight. So I didn't really know what to expect, and it was pretty much, I mean, it was a pack race, so I never had a lot of the struggles that some other people in Discord called had with position swapping and all that. But I mean, it was I went from last to the top 10, and then I would make a mistake and go back, and was constantly changing positions.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, you asked the question I was going to ask, and then Indy answered a question I was going to ask as a follow-up. So I'll give this one a pass and just say congratulations on your first podium in a car that you just started driving a couple hours, Indy. That's really remarkable, and hopefully we see you again.
Yeah, I won't be able to do votive this Sunday. A guy from my other league invited me out to California for a hobby stock race. So, that will be on Flow Racing actually on Saturday night. But I think the next Dark Horse race I should be able to do. So, try to do as many of these as I can.
Any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to before we let you go? First start, first podium. I suppose you're pretty happy.
Well, second sucks. The first ever time I drove an IndyCar, I got second in the vote of Indy Derby, and now the first ever time I drive this car, I get second at Kentucky again. So, I guess I just got to start driving new cars if I want to get second. So yeah, Fort Ball Pizza Palace in Fremont, um, BG Emery, then make something on YouTube, um, uh, F3 Fitness, and the Alley.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations, Indy, on the P2. We hope to see more of you. But in the meantime, congratulations, and When do you go back to school? Next month? Later this month? Later next month, right?
Yeah, sometime then.
Well, keep enjoying the summer, man. I remember those days. But have fun. We will catch you at the next race, whenever you join us. But congratulations on the P2 today.
Okay, thank you.
So he told us, Andrew, that pit stop kind of cost him, really. I mean, just staying out. We were like, hey, that was pretty good. And he's like, nope, that cost me at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we both kind of missed that situation, actually.
Yeah. Let's bring up LGN, and here he is. LGN, you're on mute. Now he's off of mute, and I can't imagine you not having very many things to say here. I bet you're pretty excited. Talk about your win. We were talking, actually, my first question I want to ask you is, we kind of got the answer from Indy. You and he stayed out under that first caution, and we kind of credited that for you guys gaining a lot of track position. But Indy really said that at the end of the day, it really didn't help him much, and he had to go to the back and drive to the front again. Did staying out and getting that track position help you, and it kind of helped make your day a little bit easier at all? Or was it always in the same aspect of what happened to Indy? You went to the back and you just had to drive to the front again.
Yeah, I thought like, we're gonna stay out and thinking about it. Maybe it's no more jellos around, and said, well, it's okay. We can drive something and do something and on the back and then go on the front. So that's what I stayed. And then I saw Indy did that, and I said, oh, at least somebody's thinking about different than me. So, and then coming in, yeah, so then they came in the yellow flag. So I passed him for maybe 2 seconds, something like that. So at least I did a good stop in the pit stop, so in the pit road. And then I exited very good also too, because it's really slippery and really little still bumpy over there, but it's still scary around. But I thought it's gonna be a good strategy, but it's when you're thinking about something, it always different. And yeah, it was a good race, but in some point it's like, what if could be win the race for something. And also we went super far, because I did the restart and he catch my restart by 3 times. I don't know how many times he catch my restart pretty good, and he knew I gonna do that stuff, and he catch. We went for almost 2 seconds, and then we start to fight with each other, and then I figured out, I told him, so they're gonna catch us, and then the yellow flag is out again. So it was a pretty good race, and he really understood all the stuff and that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Luis, it seemed like when you were at the front of a pack of cars, you were leading them nicely, but then as soon as you would get past, it almost kind of seemed like you would lay back and go to the back of the pack. How was the pack racing, in your opinion, tonight? And do you feel like you were not really comfortable racing side by side with everyone and just kind of letting everyone battle it out up ahead of you and then take advantage when those positions open back up again?
So I back with Andy. So when I tried to defend the Andy, I figured out I use the first line. It's like it's useless. It's like I go into the wall actually. So I started to use the second line. I went more fast. So it's like that's the key. So when I even with the old tires, I went kind of fast. I really catch Murphy from 0.8, so 1.8 to 0.2 or something like that with the old tires. I was like, oh my god, that's pretty fast. So in that, I really knew I can maybe do the squeeze in in the second line and make the pass. I really did a couple times, but it's better to use. It's better in the clean air, because I remember I did a 3Y, but I used the second line and went clear. For sure, you have to have the trust these two guys on your side, and it was good, but still thinking about it, I can use the second line like a squeeze or maybe defend, because at some point Andy tried to put the car inside, And I said, okay, try it. He tried, and then I squeezed him on the second line. And again, I have to trust him on the net control also too, and also the how it's coming up. And he left the car, and I passed him. So same happened with I don't remember, but I only remember Andy tried to do that many times in when we escaped each other. But it was like that. I really thinking about it. It doesn't matter. I just waited for the chance, but it's really tough because the guys use the first line, the other one use the between the second and third. But I tried to go into the second, and it went more fast, but went more fast with the old tires. That's the key. But it was good actually.
Well, Lewis, you are now tied for 6th all time with wins here in the Dark Horse Racing Series. You have tied one of your longtime rivals in the Indy Fix Series, Henry Bennett. You both now have 5 wins apiece here in the series. You are the 5th different winner of the season in 5 races, 2nd straight podium. I would imagine you are pretty happy. Any shout outs, any friends, family, sponsors you want to say hi to before we let you go?
I really know, like, I'm happy to win. Like, that's a good win. It was for the net code. It happened. I thought with the net code and Clendy, it should be going side by side on exit on turn 4. But it was like it was a nice call over there, and even my car jumping, it wasn't lasting. I thought, oh, okay, and then he killed Murphy on the back, so it was like okay, it's a win for sure, but it's not like a nice win. I already said, yeah, good, I won, but it was for that. So we talked about many times about when you lead and you have to change your mind. I did that, and it's like, whatever. It is what it is, and it's not my fault. And if we have a contact, maybe you have a time 0, and it's like, okay, we have to keep going. And I did that, unfortunately, but for the last yellow, it was okay. I don't have shadows. Maybe to always I mention Murphy. George Ansaldo, because he allowed me and give me the permission to use the same skin, the same stuff, and the same sponsor I used for Lionheart for 1 or 2 years in there. I give me a lot of results in there, good results. No, just only one actually. It's not really a good results. And yeah, to you for broadcasting this. I have a lot of people watching now, talking to me about the race, and that kind of happy and not happy for that. But I really figured out if I win in Gateway, I should be 2nd in the championship. And then I figured out it's like I come in here for just have fun and just start to remember how I was driving in the DW12 and iRacing, because I just only broadcasting with you. And then I figured out, maybe if I have a good result next one in Auto Club, I think so, Fontana, I could be fight for the championship again. Remember I did a couple years ago, but I'm missing one. Like did that time, I'm missing Pocono that time. So I was pretty close to that. So yeah, let's see what happened. And yeah, congrats for Stoffer and Andy for the podium.
Congratulations on the win. Get some sleep. We know you have to get up early for work, but we will see
Man,
you.
I almost thinking about I don't want to race. I super tired. I really super tired. And then I figured out, oof, this is excited, and let's do it. And then now I have to go to sleep. So sure.
Yeah, we will see you tomorrow here on the channel, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, when the ISRA Open Wheel Series, sponsored by the Sim Gaming Expo, goes to Michigan. And of course, on Tuesday, you'll be in the booth with us for the Indy Oval Series, which will be a very similar race to this, I think. It's going to be at night. It's going to be a pack race at Kansas. And of course, next week, it'll be me and you together next Sunday when Votive goes to Motegi for round 3 of their championship. So congratulations on the win. We'll catch you in the booth later this week. Until then, get some sleep.
Yeah, sure. So see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. See you, Andrew. See you, Gary. Bye.
So he's thinking back though to the netcode contact with Clindy, and that's and you've been there before. I've been there before. You get a good result, but you're like, man, as a result of getting a good result, I tapped someone or made netcode contact with someone, and I kind of hurt their days, and when it concerns Clindy, it also concerns Murphy as well. But, I mean, at the end of the day, a win is a win, but he feels a little disappointed that that contact happened with Clindy that took out Murph.
Yeah, it definitely was unfortunate there, but you can also rest assured that it was not a wreck that was supposed to happen just because of the internet connection there. So I think that he can still feel good about the win there. It was just unfortunate that other cars were collected in that.
Final thoughts on today's race at Kentucky. Pretty exciting. Still some contact made out there by some drivers. Other drivers were able to drive themselves out of trouble. I'm specifically looking up and down the order. Kirkenbauer managed to drive out of trouble. He sped coming to pit road. Gary Lovern was spun out at one point during this race. But both those guys managed to recover and get good top 5 finishes here. So overall, not a bad race. And we get a week off, and then we're going to Fontana, which is a place that we know these cars race put on very exciting shows at.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to give one quick shout out to Jeff Hysong too, because he definitely seemed disappointed that caution came out to end the race, because I think he had moved up 3 spots on that restart, and I think he might have thought he had something to get a podium finish tonight. So unfortunate for him, but a podium is coming his way very soon, I'm pretty sure. I know he likes Kentucky. He's always raced very well at Kentucky, so shout out to Jeff on that one. Sorry that you couldn't really get up there to fight, but yeah, this has been a very exciting season so far, Gary, with the 5 different winners in 5 races. Let's go for 6.
Yeah, and going back to when we last kind of saw this on the channel, another league that we were broadcasting, where we did 5 for 5 and 6 for 6, and I think we went as far as 7 for 7 with the Vote of Indy Oval Series before we got our first repeat winner. We had to go back and look at IndyCar history, and it wasn't until the year 2000 when ironically CART and the Indy Racing League kind of started off their seasons in very similar fashions the same year. And if the sad part of that story, if the leagues were merged, it would have been Juan Pablo Montoya that would have got the first repeat win, as he won later in the season. He won at Indianapolis, and then he won the next week at Milwaukee, and he would have ended that streak. But it was the 2000 season where both CART and the IRL started off with a number of non-repeat winners until they got to the first repeat winner. So check those out in history if you're interested in looking those up. But 5 for 5, the start dark horse here this season for season 8 of their championship. We now bring up the schedule here and show everyone what we got coming up. And there you see it right there. Now Auto Club, Legacy, Michigan, New Hampshire, the last short oval of the season, and then we will wrap up at Indianapolis in October. Only one race in all of August, only one race in September, and one race in October. So in short order, we will unfortunately start getting long breaks between races, but at least we only have a week off, and then we're right back to Auto Club here on the 27th. But that is your schedule remaining. So that's it for tonight. Let's get on out of here, give everyone back their Sunday evenings, and start to the week. If I can find my work, here we go. So that's it for today. Once again, your podium here from Kentucky Speedway for the joy of driving 225. Luis Gonzalez Nunez getting his 5th career win here in the Dark Horse Racing Series, gets the win. Indy Kirkenbauer getting his first podium in his first start. First time driving this car. Again, that's why I call him the prodigy. This kid is very, very good. Looking in chat, I believe his father, Clay, checked in, says he's 14. He just turned 14. He races dirt carts, and he races a hobby stock. He's going to be racing a hobby stock car for the first time this coming weekend. So we'll be wishing him all the best when he gets behind the wheel for real next weekend. And Chris Stouffer, one of the community's greatest drivers. I mean, every time that you put him in a lineup, he's always a threat to win. he comes home in third. Join Andrew and myself again Sunday, July 27th for round 6 of the Dark Horse Racing Series. The teams and drivers head to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. Coverage begins around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 8:00 p.m. Eastern. And remember, as always, you can find everything right here on YouTube at youtube.com/P1 Broadcasting for the correct broadcast time in your area. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of tonight's race, and support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more of P1's other iRacing programming, including our doubleheader Mondays for the remainder of July, starting with race 1. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The IndyCar Open Series will be at Montreal, followed by the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA Open Wheel Series at Michigan. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. Race 2 at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time. If you like IndyCar racing on iRacing, then make P1 your home on Monday nights. Tonight's Kentucky 225 and the Dark Horse Racing Series is presented by The Joy of Driving. Looking for entertaining sim racing content? Well, look no further than The Joy of Driving. Join and follow Mark Cohn's racing escapades as he battles for wins and avoids wrecks like cat-like reflexes. If you all the while providing commentary to make sure you laugh or you cry or you do both. Following along by subscribing to The Joy of Driving. You can do that on YouTube or like his Facebook page at The Joy of Driving. Links are all in the description. Tonight's race has also been brought to you by 4D Racewear and the Sim Wrap Market. Check out 4D Racewear's line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com. Link is in the description. And Sim Wrap Market is your go-to source for iRacing paint resource templates and broadcast resources. From clean-based liveries to pro-level design assets, Sim Wrap Market has everything you need to build your brand on track. Visit simwrapmarket.com. Download, customize, race. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook. You can follow them on X and Instagram. Links are in the description. For business inquiries to learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook. You can follow us on X and Instagram, and all of our links are on Linktree. Links are in the description. So for Andrew Wood, everyone here at Dark Horse Racing Series and The Joy of Driving, I'm Gary Gonzo saying to all, thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and its first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here, July 27th at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana for the next race of the Dark Horse Racing Series presented by The Joy of Driving right here on P1. Good night, everybody.